start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation? We are back once again with another episode. You are listening to the Two Doom Men podcast, and as always, it's Skaggs and the Captain. Skaggs, what do we got going on today? We got some friends of yours here.
Yes, sir. We are hanging out. I've noticed past couple episodes, every time we start, it like warps your voice. Like the connection does that every time. That's interesting. At least on my side.
In my household, the zone of no technology.
Yeah, okay, we'll see. That is what it is. So we are here. We are joined by two friends of ours from the Miseducation of David and Gary podcast, and that would be David and Gary. What's up, boys? How you guys doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Hello. Very nice to be a guest on this.
Of course,
Yeah,
man.
you guys got to
There you
come
go.
on our show one time and watch a horrible movie.
I'm down for
I'm
that,
down.
man. You know, me and Chris, you were kind of saying before how you watched our Doctor Strange review. So me and Chris are somewhat of cinephiles as well. Why don't you tell everybody what you guys do on your podcast and what it's about?
Tell him, David.
Well, it's kind of madness. So me and Gary, friends for years. We met once in real life, but we've been Instagram friends for like ever. We just like to either torture each other or introduce each other to like new mediums. So Gary will introduce me to like some movies I've just never seen, and I try to give him art house movies that he bitches about the whole time.
I hate art house movies.
I have to say, David, I am staring at your icon of this crazy woman here, as if she is the one talking. It's pretty interesting. First time we've done one that way. I like it.
Well, you gotta be honored because David remembered his Zoom password. Generally, it's just DG.
Yeah. It's a special occasion when I remember my Zoom password.
It's true. We celebrate it.
There you go. So, I mean, it's an interesting month. I wanted to have you guys on to kind of get your perspective on a couple of things. I know, Cap, I'm sure you have some questions and things you want to talk about as well.
We'll have
we'll have a little fun. We'll talk about Pride Month a little bit. We will talk a little bit about X-Men. Gary, I know you're a huge X-Men nerds, and me and Cap are big MCU, Marvel Comics fans and whatnot. So we'll get into a whole bunch of stuff. Show a couple of videos. We got a couple of tweets that we're going to show too. Chris, I saw you had 4. Is that correct?
The bottom 2 are the same one.
Okay.
So
I'll
yeah.
keep that in mind.
So just the top 3. Yeah.
You guys are way more prepared for our podcast than we are.
Yeah, that's our thing. You know, we've
been doing it.
We've been doing it now for like 2 years. So with it comes trial and error and a lot of bad episodes and re-listening to them and learning as you go.
Just never question yourself. Just put your shit out there like we do.
That's kind of, anytime we've decided to try something new, it's always been like, well, we got nothing to lose. So, what are we going to anger? The 10 people that are listening each week, or the 5 people that could see us on Instagram?
We say that all the time, and we still do the stupidest shit possible. Yeah. And it's amazing. We run on chaos, and that's how you got to run.
Yeah.
Well, the world runs on chaos right now, so you guys are on par.
That's a good
point. We're finally on par with the world. So
it is caught up to us. So I was listening to your guys' last episode, and Gary, I remember on it, you said something along the lines of that, that you are 2 bitter gay guys who hate Pride Month. So and then you just went on to what the rest of what you were talking about. So I wanted you guys to elaborate more on that and why you made that statement, which I thought was pretty funny.
Okay. Do you want to start, David, or should I?
No, you go first.
Okay, so the reason we hate Pride Month is we are not the gays you see everywhere. We are normal looking guys who are fat.
Yeah.
And we're not into leather. We're not into any of that stuff. We love tits.
Ugh, do we?
We love
tits.
Well, we all have that in common, at least.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The thing with Pride Month, everything has gotten so crazy out of control. And like, I'm not talking about everything. It's just that it's kind of lost its specialty now that literally everything is gay. You know what I mean?
Being gay is not fun anymore because like you watch something or it's just like they have to include a gay character. I'm like, you don't have to. Like, I would prefer if you guys, one movie did not have to add a gay character. It's not representation. We don't give a shit anymore. There's been enough of it. So like, you don't need to add them in a movie or a TV show. And like, it's just so much. It lost its luster. Like, back in the day, not when, they were getting killed in the streets. at bars, but like, when they were just hidden and it was occasionally like, oh, there's a gay person on All in the Family. That's fun. And it's not fun anymore because it's everywhere.
I wildly agree with you guys. I always thought it was so
Wildly.
stupid to add a gay character to like an action movie. Like, oh, okay, the character's gay, but if there's no love interest in the story, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like if this isn't a story about Tony and John falling in love and it's just about a story of Tony saving the world, it doesn't really matter if he's straight or gay.
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Growing up in the late 90s, you wanted something you could be attached to. You wanted to see a relationship. And the problem is David brings it up, and we love gay people. We just don't need to see it every fucking second of our lives. The problem is, you're 100% right, Chris, that they're just there. So it's just like you're checking a quota. You're not putting any characterization into the gay characters. In fact, like 90% of the movies, it's just like, yeah, that's the gay guy, and like, or she's the lesbian, and then
Gary froze.
Yep.
So, but like, we can have gay and trans representation. There's ways to do it and there's ways to not do it. So like in Promising Young Women, do you guys see that yet?
I have not, no.
Good movie. It's mildly woke, but not fully woke. Laverne Cox is in there. And as you know, she's a famous trans actress. In that movie, they don't at all say she's trans. She's just a woman, like she identifies as. Do shit like that. But then you have like in the American Horror Story, that spin-off series they had, they introduced like a trans and non-binary character and made it so comically obnoxious that this is what everyone now sees and hates. That's what they think the trans or non-binaries are like. It's really damaging to
a good point.
that community. So there's ways you can incorporate inclusion, but not throwing it in our face. It's just like, oh, they're there. Cool. Like, I get it.
Well, I always said with a lot of things, but since we're talking about the LGBT community, we overshot it. The world overshot the being inclusive, being acceptive. Like there was a point in time where gays were shunned and I guess oppressed and attacked for their, for your sexual lifestyle. And then you guys were accepted and no one, really cared. And like, that's when everything was like level playing field. And then we are where we are now with this whole Pride Month and, there's gotta be a gay character. We've overshot the mark by, miles. And most of my interaction with gay people throughout my life has been like you guys, just normal people. No one, you see the pictures from the Pride Parade. I've never met a gay person who feels the need to wear a rainbow suit covered head to toe in penises to promote that they're gay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure like that it's a terrible representation of the community because you're literally only getting the extremists almost.
Yeah, and that's what gets put in the media. So like everything that's going on now, like, oh, kids shouldn't be at drag shows, kids shouldn't be at Pride. You get the worst images of the gay and trans community. A lot of times they're not like that. Like you have me and Gary, half of our Instagram followers are definitely not like that. That's not what the media ever shows. They want to show you the worst representation possible, and that's why we still keep getting set back in our rights and movements because these people exist for the camera, which might
definitely
be an MK Ultra type thing. I don't know. I'm definitely getting that vibe, but
it definitely is.
Yeah. I have said it many times on this show, and I definitely get the vibe of the whole thing has been like co-opted by powers that be. Like the state, in order to use it as a shield, Chris, as we've talked of most of times. Like let's use David. I don't know how familiar you are with like the administration, but like Pete Buttigieg, he is the Department of Transportation Secretary, and he is a gay man. So
he's a gross gay man at that. He's a rat. He looks like a rat. I saw a picture of him stepping on a raccoon's neck, taking a picture of it. I don't know if it's Photoshop, but it looked real enough for me to not be into that whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
him and his,
he's a Department of Transportation secretary. So I guess he's running over the raccoons as they go.
Why is he the Department of Transportation? What does he have to offer? Give that
Oh.
man a nice coffee and he can walk 1,000,000 miles an hour. That's not good transportation right there.
Yeah, that's the thing. They, he's horribly underqualified, but since he's a gay guy, they put that shield up and they get one of their guys in the position. And therefore, whenever you attack them or whenever you say, oh, that's bad policy or you're doing something wrong, oh, you're a homophobe.
Right.
They put people like this in these positions. So when they mess up and they get attacked and someone tries to hold them accountable, they got the shield. Oh, it's a black woman. Oh, it's a gay guy. Oh, they're trans. And it's like they think it's this impenetrable force that leads to no accountability.
You gotta examine the person. Have you seen him eat Cinnabon? He eats it like they're ribs. He's a lot of times you can't focus on oh, the person, it's their fault because they're gay. No, it's their fault because they're terrible people and they're incompetent. Doesn't matter what color or orientation you are. If you're terrible, you're terrible. What you do in the bedroom is not our business. If you can't do your job, you can't do your job. And if you can't eat Cinnabon like a normal person, you should not have any type of job.
So sorry, my Wi-Fi died for a second.
It's okay.
Are we talking about Kevin James?
No.
Oh man, we're talking about Pete Buttigieg.
That piece of shit.
Yeah.
So oh my god, I can't stand his husband. That fucking fame whore.
Oh wait. So what are we allowed? What bad words are we allowed
you
to
can say anything you want. Anything goes on Two Doom Men. We don't care.
Okay. Perfect. Because
besides what we laid out before.
If anybody attacks you, just accuse them of being a homophobe.
There you go. Right. Now you have use the shield. Use the wine.
I've never had to use that in my life. Gary, did you ever have to use that?
I use it every day. When the bus doesn't stop, I'm like, homophobe.
There you go.
when Netflix doesn't have the movie I want, it's like fucking homophobes.
You still on Netflix?
No.
Good. Yeah, Tubi is where it's at.
Yeah, Tubi. You can watch any fucking garbage movie you want, and you can get Blue Chew.
Is that free or you have to pay for that?
No, Tubi is free.
Oh, interesting.
Blue Chew is not. We're trying to get Blue Chew to sponsor us, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pay for Netflix. I mooch off other people because I'm a cheap bastard. But yeah,
you got to send me your HBO Go password again.
It's a chain. It's like a vicious cycle of people mooching off of each other. I mooch off other people, and he mooches off me.
Yep,
that's the way it goes. Going back to what we were talking about before with movies and culture and stuff, and we were saying forcefully injecting maybe a gay person into a role. I have no person with gay people being a character or being in a role. My problem is with it, the story has to make sense and it has to be good. A lot of my biggest criticism of sometimes the MCU and the Disney stuff is you'll see something in one of the movies, like in Infinity War, there was that one scene, I think it was Endgame, where all the girls teamed up and it was girl power. And when they were fighting Thanos, and I'm like, okay, now I've been reminded of the real world and woke stuff and girl power and this, and that's not what I came here to watch. I came here to watch superheroes beat the shit out of each other. So that's not good storytelling, and it takes away from the whole experience. You could have a good character and a good story based around a trans actor or a trans character, whatever, or a gay person. And that's great. That's great, but it has to actually be good. Otherwise,
make a story. You're 100% right. Make a story about it. Make them a character. Just don't put them in there for window dressing. That's the biggest problem that I was talking about before. They don't have characters besides just being that character who's gay in the movie. They'll just we'll just put a trans character in it. But there's never any never any growth. That's why I like Euphoria, because Euphoria does have a lot of growth and characters. But to go back to the MCU, I do love the MCU. I've seen literally every movie, but as you brought up before, I say this in every podcast, there is no sexuality at all in those movies. There is no charisma. There is no connection. Even
Hulk and Black Widow, they liked each other.
Yeah. The Eternals, where they were Marvel's first sex scene, and it was putting two dolls together and watching them just hit each other. Even Zendaya, we were talking about this the other day, David and I. Zendaya and Tom Holland, who I find super annoying, um, they are banging each other in real life, but they have zero chemistry with each other in the movies. Like, you think Peter Parker wants to have sex with Happy more than he wants to have sex with fucking Zendaya.
Well, you gotta love that Sam Raimi had gay characters in a Marvel movie and killed them almost immediately.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a
That
good
was kinda
point.
funny.
I you're right. Like all of like the chemistry between characters has been clunky. I mean, like you can even think back to Captain America and Peggy Carter. Like
They were old fashioned.
They were old fashioned, right?
That's the problem. That I keep saying. Like, you want to have a gay character, then give me a love interest.
Yeah.
Give me the story of how this gay character finds the love of his life on this big adventure to save the world. Give him somebody to go home to. You know, like when Hawkeye like had his wife and all that stuff, and she played a part in the Hawkeye TV series. Like, at least it made sense. Don't just, so something that's been talked about a lot lately is Michael B. Jordan possibly being casted as Superman. They want to have a black Superman. And there's people online that are obviously in favor for it, but there's also people online that are like, why don't you just do like a black superhero? Like, there's Static Shock. There's Black Lightning in the DC. Like, let's get a good, huge Black Lightning Static Shock movie or something, and really make it like Black Panther, where that was done great.
Yeah, that was great. I thought I liked.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, don't make. You're gonna alienate a portion of your consumers by changing Superman. And even I'm sure there's even I've seen black people online saying like, we don't want to see a black Superman, give us a black hero. They even last year, I remember around this time last year, they came out with a gay version of Captain America. Just make a new superhero. Don't they literally shrunk Captain America, made him smaller. Like, no, you're not even doing like a good justice to the community.
Yeah, he didn't even have any powers, right, Gary? You might know this one better. You're a bigger comic book nerd than us.
He had the powers of being gay and being thrown out there so people would buy comics. This is the biggest problem, and we'll get back to this in 1 second, because I agree with you 100%. There are so many characters, there are so many minority characters that are so good in comics, and I feel like they don't do anything with them. They're just like, well, we'll make Mr. Fantastic black, and I'm like, but there's 100 characters that are better than Mr. Fantastic in the Marvel universe. Literally, like, you have so many characters that you can use, and you just like pick and choose things, and you don't understand why fans like movies. Like, you don't understand. You're just like, okay, I understand colorblind casting. I'm down with that if it makes sense for the movie. But there are so many characters that you don't touch, and you know what? It's astounding how they don't do anything with these characters. Captain, the Winter Soldier and Falcon, literally they spent so much time on the villains that like I didn't get anything from Falcon. How is he Captain America? You have a great character that's built in the comics. Rick Remender wrote like the all new Captain America when he became Falcon Captain. And it was so amazing, and it was so wacky and weird, and they just made a generic buddy comedy, and it was just not good. Like, how do you not give Falcon a fucking loan?
Right. Yeah, of all people, years? Right, yeah.
He saved the world, stupid. I'm a banker.
Right, yeah, that made no sense. That was
came in here and was like, Gary, I need a loan for $100,000 to save my fishing boat. I'd be like, it's going. You
right, 0%, no APR.
Here's a free fishing boat.
Yeah, here you go. I'm just giving you $100,000 from the vault.
Yeah, they tried to thread a real life storyline into that, or bring something like that in there. There was a scene with the police too and whatnot. I mean, you're right. I mean, the guy was an Avenger who saved the world at Captain America's side, the most famous fucking person in America. Right? People knew who the Falcon was. It wasn't like he was hiding his identity or anything like that. But they tried to, again, it was distracting because they tried to weave a real life problem into a superhero show, and it didn't work. And then I don't know, the show just sucked. The last episode was like him being the Falcon again. Like, we already know, bro, you're a fucking
what's
superhero.
going
We know
on?
you know how to fly around and beat people up. Like, we didn't have to reestablish that. It was not well done. The
It
whole
was
series.
not. It was one of their weakest, and I thought it could have been one of their greatest because, as you know, Sebastian Stan, our favorite witchy poo from the Covenant, is great as Winter Soldier, and and Anthony Mackie is great as Falcon, and they have good comic timing with each other. You can see it in other movies, and it was just a slog, slogging through episodes, and I'm like, are we going to get to a point? And then there's just like people blowing up, and I just don't care.
Yeah, I agree. Sebastian Stan is a good actor, man. I've seen a lot of stuff. Like, he's been in a lot of things. Like, he was in Pam and Tommy too. My wife was watching that. I thought that was actually pretty good. He was pretty. He's like really. He's got a lot of like range. He can do a lot of different things.
And back to we were talking about like just give us these great black characters or give us these great female characters. Don't just make a character a female or whatever. Sebastian worked so well as the Winter Soldier because you look at him on the movie screen and then you open up the comic book and you hold them up to next to each other. You get the toy from the 90s and all three of them look exactly alike. Why is Chris Hemsworth fantastic at Thor? Because you open up the comic book, you take one of the old toys, you stand them in the room, they all look alike.
Yeah.
Chris, who played Captain America? Chris Evans, Tony, Robert Downey Jr. These are the reasons why this was so good. Don't just change it to, to fill a quota and check off your box.
Yeah. So that was what we talk about this all the time on our show, where it was just it's the shitty humor that's gotten so bad because of Robert Downey Jr. in these movies. Robert Downey Jr. is a snarky guy. I can understand him. Iron Man is a snarky guy. Every freaking character in a Marvel movie. And I think what really pushed me over the edge was like, guys, you're in a comic movie. Like oh my God, when in Nowhere Home, when they go, what's your name? And he's like, Otto Octavius. And they start snickering like little bitches. And I'm like, bro, it's a comic movie. You could have fun. Just like be stupid. You just went to Dr. fucking Strange's house. And you're like, okay, that's cool. But Otto Octavius, that's it. Fuck you.
Yeah, man. And I think, so I see here you're being very critical of the MCU. And I mean, the MCU is much like funnier, I would say, than the DCEU, which is
the DCU is just garbage.
A train wreck of I don't know what they're trying to do.
They can't get it right no matter what they try.
Were you saying something, David?
I was gonna say there's something interesting about how it seems to be like comic book movies are the only thing going on right now. Like there is a cultural societal decay going on, right? I mean, Chris, me and you are just as guilty as anybody. We love the MCU, we love Star Wars, we love everything that Disney makes for the most part, although we're critical of it. But what else is going on right now? I don't know.
You get rid of the art, you destroy the culture.
Yeah.
So what you guys need to do is you need to go down a French cinema hole that we did, and we watched movies that were so fucking bizarre that. Have you ever heard of the movie Titane?
It sounds familiar.
No.
So, David, give him a little example of what Titane is about.
Titane is a girl. She gets into like a car accident as a kid and gets a metal plate in her head. Then as she grows up, she does like these erotic car shows. And then at some point has sex with a car. And now is pregnant with the car baby. And then she's she starts killing people for some reason. It's never explained. Yeah, so like she's killing. So now she's hiding from the police. So she decides to shave her head and tape up her titties so she doesn't get caught. So this is like a fun movie because it's cool. A woman has sex with a car. She's given birth to the car, but a lot of people found it problematic for the trans community because she's taping up her chest. I'm like, okay, don't want to diminish people who do that, the trans people, but it's a movie about a woman having sex with a car and giving birth to a car baby. There's got.
So what was it, like a little Honda Civic that she popped out or something? Like a little two-door coupe?
Yeah, did she actually pop a car out of her twat? Like,
spoiler alert, it is a baby, but it has like metal in it, like it's like scratched up and has like metal in it, and it actually has
Like
a
a
sweet ending.
transformer.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
I stole that. Damn it. I wasn't fast enough.
But like, there's a lot of times you got to you got to look at certain movies and you can't be upset about the stupidity like of
Yeah.
problematic elements because the movie itself just is ridiculous. Like you can't be upset that this woman is bandaging her tits to hide from the cops because she literally had sex with a car and is now killing people. Like
You know, you just sparked something in me. You know, the woke culture, you know, hates comedy. And we've
Yes.
seen that time and time again. And here you are describing a movie that is wildly outlandish. Some woman banging a car, giving birth to a little transformer, killing people, and people are worried that she's taping up her tits. We're not operating in the real world here. Okay. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
she does to her tits. She's giving birth to a baby. Stop worrying about that. You know, the woke community has ruined art. Maybe that's why all there is remakes of Jurassic Park and remakes of Star Wars and Marvel comics and DC comics, because that's literally all that's left. Because if you make a new movie that's a little bizarre, or you know, if you come up with this original idea, oh great, I got this idea, we're going to get greenlit, and then the bigwigs from Hollywood come in and they're like, okay, well, who's the gay character? Oh, well, you know what, there's too many white guys, so let's throw a couple of black guys in. And now the whole story is completely different from what you started, and it's just easier to make Iron Man 4.
Yeah, so you're 100% right. And as I said before, it's not genuine. It's just them putting, I like to say, putting a band-aid on a broken leg. It's going to do nothing. You're not giving like real validation for somebody who may be suffering in their life. You know, I did work in a shelter with homeless gay kids when I was a little younger, because I was doing something for one of my jobs. I was doing like one of those service things. And you know, you hear stories about a kid that is like 13 years old and had to run away to live in a shelter because his parents don't accept them and they hate them for being gay. And this is what gets me mad, is that you don't see something like that. You don't see, you just see a gay character popping up and going like, hey, what's going on, girls? And I'm like,
wearing a pride flag pin. That's it.
That's it. Like, you know, there's horror stories and they don't focus on that. I think the only show that I've ever seen that focused on something was Pose, but that was taking place in the 80s, and you don't really see anything growing up now because maybe it's because everything is
So everything
he's making such a good
in
point.
New York or California.
Yeah, you cut out on
you
that.
cut out while you were just about to make
like
his great point.
Yeah, it's just like, you don't live in New York and California. They don't understand things like we do. So yeah, woke culture, when it's done correctly, is there to show you that there is differences between people. But I feel like it's gotten so, and I think COVID is the reason. And TikTok, the worst fucking
Oh
thing
my God,
ever
yes.
created.
TikTok needs to be gone completely. It's breeding the worst.
It's breeding stupidity. If you know, I forget who was talking about this. It was one of these idiot little comedic celebrities, but they're like, in China, you become famous on TikTok because you're a 10-year-old with an engineering degree and you're building a robot, and people tune in to watch this 10-year-old build a robot. In America, you get millions of followers because you can make your ass cheeks clap, you know.
100%.
Yeah, that points back to what we were saying before. It's like this degeneration of culture and society.
It's just, you know, you want representation. You want people to understand what people are going through, but you're giving us cartoon characters. Like, that's
here,
it.
I have a question for you guys. Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
So you're saying you want representation, and I agree. Everybody wants to be represented. But how does, you know, Mercedes-Benz or Coca-Cola changing their Instagram profile picture give anyone representation? It is such a cheap cop-out that I'm not represented. Oh, the gay community is oppressed, blah, blah, blah. And then 1 month out of the year, McDonald's gives out a rainbow Big Mac box. Oh, boy, It's all my problems are solved. That
Well,
you
the
know,
dumbest
what
fucking
would-
thing I've ever
Don't get
heard
me
of.
started.
Burger
Literally,
King is doing a
Uber.
Burger King is doing a
Yeah.
top and a top bun and a bottom
Yes.
and a bottom bun.
Yeah.
Woo! Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone and they all lived happily
all my
ever
problems
after.
are solved. What a cheap way to cheapen these horror stories that you've heard. You think the kid at 13 who ran away from his family, who hates him, gives a fuck what bun is on his burger at McDonald's? Come on.
First of all, if you ever eat a top and a top bun, that is disgusting. Like, there's no way to. You're getting sesame seeds everywhere. Second of all, like, it's pandering, as I said before. It's saying, look, we support you. Okay, what about the other 11 months of the year? Just like Black History Month. What about the other 11 months of the year? Women's History Month. It's what's going on there? We should be supported throughout the entire fucking year.
And where does the money go? Like these big corporations, they will put a rainbow on their logo for a month, but where are their funds actually going? Are they going back to the community, just like in Black History and Women's History Month? Do the funds actually go to who you're pandering to? No,
Of course
you're
not.
just trying to trick us. Like, oh, the McDonald's box is a rainbow. That's cool, but like, you don't bring the McRib back a lot, so who gives a shit?
Yeah, but that's something we talk about all the time too. It's just like there's a rainbow in a box. What is that doing for anybody? Who cares? At the end of the day, you're still taking my money.
And
You ain't giving me
also,
back.
like I showed Gary the other day, the people aren't even happy anymore because now in the gay community, it's not just the rainbow flag anymore. Have you guys walked into a Starbucks this month?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Unfortunately,
I make my own coffee. But good.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because in the month of June, Starbucks puts up so many. I know it's on Long Island. That's where where are you guys?
We're
I'm
in
in
the area.
Westchester.
I'm in
Yeah, not
Connecticut.
far.
All right. So like there's flags, but it's not just the rainbow flag. There's several flags these people have now. And it's just like, and they all mean something different. Like, oh, you got the lesbian flag, you got the trans flag, you got the asexual, demisexual, questioning. I'm like, why are there so many fucking flags? You're not a peninsula, you're not a country. You don't need these flags. One flag was enough. And then you keep adding colors into it. And like the main flag, like, what are you doing? Just leave it alone.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't the point of the original flag that it was multicolored, supposed to be like, it's representing people, things
originally,
right?
but now they added black, brown, like other colors for the other races. And I'm like, if racism in the gay community wasn't so bad to begin with, this one had to happen. And that's a thing does not talk about within the gay community is the racism and the body shaming. It is disgusting. So, horror story. I used to be morbidly obese. Now I'm just like regular obese.
Like the rest of us.
I got weight loss surgery. So before I was the surgery, they have these apps, about like the Grinder and the hookup apps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definite backpedal for the gay community. They have actually made things more worse for us. And the STD and the AIDS rate has gone up severely because of the app. Oh, yeah. Oh, and adult men get arrested more because like 16-year-olds go on the app, don't tell the person that they're 16, unwittingly get arrested when they get caught, which is totally disgusting and not fair. So the whole community, disgusting to begin with. Before my surgery, I was too fat for the guys. I get it. Got the surgery, lost a little bit of weight. I was at a weird point where I'm either still too fat or not fat enough.
Amazing.
And that put me in the worst spiral possible. Like I still haven't recovered from that. So it really is. And then like also on social media, me and Gary, fantastic artists. We know a lot of artists too. We don't get recognition on Instagram for that stuff because Instagram is littered with either buff gay men in jockstraps or gay art that's just naked men.
Yeah. Just like pick a character, let's put him in a thong, or let's show his dick bulge. And it's, the thing is, it's just not fair to people that actually struggle and work to, build a brand, to build like like even we were talking about it the other day. You're saying everybody's getting shadow banned now on Instagram. Because what? Because I make a meme about Mary Kate killing fucking Heath Ledger? She did. She gave him the black tar heroin, guys. Like, stop. Like, it's the truth. I'm putting the truth out there, bros.
They hate the truth.
She
They
gave
hate
him
the
the heroin
truth.
and said, "You got it, dude."
It is interesting, man, because just as a creator, we're all, well, four of us are creators here. It's like the whole space is so curated and manicured. Like it's presented. We've talked about this, Cap. It's presented as if it's this place where you could go and you could post your stuff and other people see it. That ain't what it is. It's like they're teasing you. Like, here, you're posting something, and by the act of you posting something is so that other people could see it, but you didn't actually do anything. No one is seeing it because it's just nothing. It's why we had to just completely rebrand.
Well, the worst thing that's happening now is that, like, I don't see anybody's posts. I don't see your posts. I don't see David's posts like 90% of the time. I see fucking sponsored ads and fucking Instagram's fake TikTok where I see somebody cooking fucking eggs. I don't care. I don't want to see egg cooking. It's just like when you're searching for a recipe online and you have to read an entire story about somebody's past, how their grandmother made fucking cookies for them and how it warmed their hearts. I don't care. I need to know the ingredients. That's it.
Like, how much sugar do I put in? Fuck your dead grandmother. How much sugar do I put in this pie? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I have 2 points here. One, for what Skaggs was saying, is, we were switching over our accounts, and because one is just too shadow banned now, and Skaggs is like, I wonder if there's a way I could DM everybody that follows us all at once. And I was like, well, technically you should just be able to post, and everyone that follows you should see it all in one shot, but they made up their own rules and now we can't. And then, David, back to your point of how there's no gay representation because you might be overweight, but anytime you see a gay guy on Instagram, it's just some buff dude in with 6-pack abs and a thong. It's almost like the gay community socially hasn't gone woke yet, because Victoria's Secret models got all the abuse because it's this unobtainable body,
right?
And now here it is in the gay community.
Remember, Cap, we brought up on the screen the This Is Healthy, and it was a big fat woman, and it was like Vogue, I think, was. Like, no, it's not. So it is almost the inverse, I guess you could say. That is actually interesting.
There is a weird dynamic in the gay community because there's sub communities in the gay community. So, me and Gary, are you considered a bear or no?
I'm considered married, so no one gives a fuck.
Okay, yeah, so you're gross. You're going against God's light because you're married to a guy.
I sodomize my husband, so.
Okay, so someone who is single and bitter, there's subcategories, like there's bears, which are like hairier men. There's otters, which are skinny, hairy men. There's twinks that are like no hair. Like, there's different sub communities. And like, then you get to the fetish communities where there's the pup community, where there are guys that wear like these dog masks and acts like dogs, which is, look, I don't want to kink shame. I don't get it. But if we keep at this rate, Sodom and Gomorrah is happening anytime soon. And I'll be damned if I get turned into a fucking pillar of salt. But
I'm gonna kink shame. If somebody dressed up like a fucking puppy dog with a fucking puppy tail butt plug, and I was to be in the company of them, I would be like, you know what? No matter how horny I am, I'm not fucking.
But they have money because that's like a nice butt plug. Like, that's expensive. That whole getup is expensive. So you want to know where they got that money. But you will see on Instagram now, like me and Gary, like he'll send me the stuff sometimes. You'll either see hot buff guys or like, fat guys. And it's body positivity, which has its perks and it also has its burdens, because perks is, hey, body positivity, anyone can show their body. That's great. But you're going to get made fun of. That's the problem you're on with social media, is that, if you're a fat guy, you're going to post yourself in a jockstrap. Hooray. Some people will say hooray. Other people are going to be like, that's fucking gross. Please stop doing this. And I've seen comments. So like, our community is really fucking bizarre and confusing, because we're either going to be for each other or against each other, but all relies on, are we for you if we want to fuck you?
Exactly. It's 100%. He's 100% true. The thing is, we talk so much, and we talk on the show too. It's a free fucking photo sharing app. Okay. Like, Instagram, calm down. Stop fucking policing my fucking posts. Like, allow me to be creative. That was the whole point. That was why people liked Instagram in the beginning, before it got taken over by Facebook, and it became my mom posting stuff and tagging me on Facebook, but it's on Instagram, so I don't even see the tags. Okay, just stop.
Yeah, but it doesn't even work well. That's another whole aspect of it, right? Like the whole, it's clunky, like the whole user interface and the tagging, right? You don't see them sometimes. They show up late. It's very, very clunky. I don't even know. Like the reels don't work good.
So easy and fun. Like it was the best thing. You would be like, that. I'm telling you, that's how David and I met and became friends. We just liked each other's insanely horrible posts, and now I wouldn't be able to see them. So
yeah, like I went on private for a reason, like because the amount of shit I do sometimes, like the amount of 9/11 jokes I make, I definitely am offensive to everyone. But if you're on my friends list and you're private, you stay there for a reason. And if you get upset of anything I do or say, you can't be surprised because you knew I was a terrible person when you walked in.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose like with the climate. Like I had like some friends I had, like back in the day, we'd play like the jib jab games on the phone. I don't know. It's a phone thing. So I'd make like comically, admittedly offensive jokes.
yeah.
They'd laugh. But when things change societally wise, they're not funny anymore. I'm like, that's not fair. You laughed then. You can't change that now because you realize it's bad now. It's always been bad. Like
No, it's the truth. And if you don't like something I post, just don't follow me.
Exactly.
Well, that's the problem with culture today. No one can leave well enough alone. You have to be accepting of everyone until you're offended. You know what I mean? And if you don't have one of these shields, like, that you're a black woman or a gay man or a trans person, if you don't have one of those shields, you're a fair game. You get to get obliterated. But nobody can leave well enough alone. When you saw something you didn't like on TV, you just went to the next channel. When you didn't, that's how it used to go. It was that simple. But now nobody could be left alone.
And the thing is funny too, because David and I are from our podcast, we have fans and we have like maybe one gay person that likes us, and the rest are straight women and straight men. And it's crazy because we've had people on our show. Our friend Nicolette, she is one of the sweetest human beings in the world. And how she deals with our crap is insane, because she came on the show. It was like the brightest spot ever on our show, because we usually have garbage people on like we are. So we had somebody nice on it, and we were just like, I at the beginning I was like, I hope she doesn't get offended by what we talk about. Then I was like, no, she listened to every one of our shows, of course she's gonna like. So the thing is, you have to understand, there is a part of humor that is just, it's gonna be dark sometimes. And you know what? It's going to make jokes, and we're going to make fun of gay people. You know why? Because we're gay. And if we want to make fun of gay people, we can make fun of gay people. And the problem being is everybody in the world is just like, nope, you can't do jokes about this. You can't get dark. David, you can't do 9/11 jokes. Why not? That's when him and his best friend became best friends.
I think that's also like antithetical to acceptance, right? Because when you get to the point where you feel comfortable enough to make fun of people, you're good with them, right? My theory has always been that woke shit is just racism and homophobia and all this stuff in reverse. They are that's what we said, the iron law of woke projection. They call everybody a racist or a homophobe because they themselves are. And comedy, there should not be any sacred clowns or whatever, or sacred cows, as they say. It's the whole purpose is to push the boundaries and laugh about things. Don't take yourself so seriously.
That's the thing too. I feel like either dark comedies now have to be dark, but not too dark. Like they can't go down the road where somebody will be killed in a movie that is not on a list. Like they're like a list. Oh, straight white men, kill them. That's it.
Yeah. It's strange because I mean, how old are you guys? I mean, me and Skaggs are in our early 30s.
Yeah, I'm 43. And
I'm
okay,
35.
So there you go. So a lot of us all grew up watching South Park.
Yeah.
Grew up watching Family Guy. And everybody who's woke and, a progressive shitlib now, all watched that crap growing up, because 15 years ago when South Park was still on, you didn't have problems with this, and they made every joke humanly possible.
Yeah.
And then it all changed.
So like
They still are too, which is
which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they put like what they put like the Quran,
Muhammad.
Muhammad, like they did a lot of really offensive shit. I mean, they did take flack for some things back in the day, but they were just like, fuck it. Yeah, I don't get that. I think a lot of the craziest woke shit, though, Chris, is coming from like the generation before our generation, before me and you's generation. Yes, there are woke people of every age and like, whatnot. You know, white women especially are super woke most of the time.
Yeah.
You know,
that tweet of the week last week.
Yeah. But I do think it's being pushed by the generation after. By that I mean the younger generation before ours. And now I think the newest generation, I'm hearing from a lot of professors,
is super based.
Or super based because they're like, what the fuck is wrong with everybody?
Yeah.
So I mean that there could be a light at the end of the tunnel for that.
But the biggest thing is stop being so goddamn sensitive about everything.
They can't. They can't. They can't, because it's their only way to project their virtue signaling is to get upset over it, because their life truly, when you are a wealthy white woman living in Greenwich, Connecticut, in a 5,000 square foot house with a summer home in the Hamptons with 2 boats, an Escalade and a Benz in the driveway, you have nothing of value. You know what I mean? Yes, maybe you went to a good college. Maybe you're lucky enough to be a doctor and you actually make a difference in the world. But the majority of them sit home, drink wine, twiddle their thumbs, and redecorate the guest bedroom. They have nothing else to do but be sensitive. They have to overreact.
The game is fun.
If they were in their 60s, David would fuck them.
Oh hell yeah! I'd break their back. But did you
turn them into dust?
Oh yeah, no, they would be destroyed. Like I would take their AARP card, go to the early dinners. But there was actually now an issue. There's a new gay movie that came out on Hulu called Fire Island. Naturally,
yes,
I was gonna make you watch that for the final week of Gay Month, but then we got that fucking horrible Celine Dion movie.
No, Celine Dion's better than this. Like, okay, it's apparently this white woman complained that she didn't feel represented in the movie. Okay, the movie's not about you. It's about the gay Asians. Yeah. It's not about you. Not like there's a whole history of entertainment that could be about white women. You gotta let, as much as I don't
every
like
romantic comedy.
Yeah, as much as I don't like gay culture, there's got to be occasions you gotta let them have something. Like the Asians don't have enough, unfortunately. Granted, I'm glad like they're booming now with like a bunch of movies, but this movie's for them. It's the gay Asian experience in Fire Island, you know. Hopefully they didn't get bit by mosquitoes there, because
is it the Fire Island that's in Long Island? Is it is it about that, or
I'm gonna assume.
I think they're going to get cummed up in Long Island. But to go back on that for a second, that's the biggest thing that I feel like racism is so rampant in Hollywood, that when Crazy Rich Asians made like number one, they're like, oh my God, Asian people want to see movies? And that's when Shang-Chi came out, and Shang-Chi was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was good. And people were like, I can't believe it made so much money. It's a nobody Marvel character. Yeah, but people want to see themselves represented on screen.
Yeah.
It's like, we stole enough from Asian people. Why can't we let them have something in their community? Like, look at all the old Star Wars movies. Padme's outfit, super Asian. Okay, let's have Asian Star Wars, not like Natalie Portman being a piece of shit in space. Like,
yeah, I mean the whole like Star Wars, you know, like there's a representation of like samurai culture in there. Like Vader's suit is styled after like a samurai armor. Yeah, you're right, definitely.
But there's just anytime something makes money, they're like, wow, there is an audience. Yes, there's an audience.
There's always been an audience.
It's really telling too of those people's, like, you know, their idea or their mentality. It's like, wow, I didn't think this was possible.
So did they think like when like Captain America, the first Avenger came out, like only white people saw it? Like, is that like how like short-sighted like they actually are, that like I can't believe this many Asians went to go see Crazy Rich Asians? No, just everybody fucking saw the movie. Yeah.
If you make a good fucking movie, anybody is going to see it. It's
Thank you.
Gonna just be it's not going to be a culture seeing it. If you make a good gay movie, or if you make a good movie about a trans character dealing with shit in their life and learning how to accept themselves and have acceptance from people that they love, they're going to watch that movie. You don't just have to throw somebody in a movie because they are a trans actor.
Do you guys? It's Oh man, who plays Ron Swanson? Nick Offerman.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He has a cartoon called The Great White North,
Mhm.
where he has a family that they live in Australia, not
It's like-
Australia, Alaska,
Mhm.
and one of the characters, his son, is gay, and he always comes out, and they're always like, "That's great, we love you for that, like we accept you." Like it's like this ongoing joke that
Yeah.
like he keeps on like coming out, and everybody's like, "We know, we accept you. It's
Yeah,
it's great
fine,
news."
Chill out. Like, we got it.
Yeah, it's
But
kind
see,
of
like-
it's kind of but that's by like that. I see what they're doing. They're making a play on like the state of society
Yeah,
right now. Like like most common, most just average people are like, yeah, that's great. And then there's someone
Yeah.
who keeps like poking you with it for some reason. And yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
makes sense to me, being that he was the Ron Swanson, he was the libertarian.
Yeah.
That's interesting, Cap. I like they brought that up. I didn't even know he had that show. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's
Check
on
that
it's
out.
on Hulu. The Great North or the Great White North. It's I don't know. It's a pretty funny cartoon. I don't mind it.
I always see the picture, but it's from it's not from the Bob's Burger people, right? Like the animation.
No.
I think it's from the Simpson people. If
Okay.
I'm not 100%
'Cause
sure.
I have,
It's not Bob's Burger people. I'll tell you that.
I'm deeply
Bob's Burgers
betrayed
did
by
that-
Bob's
that
Burgers.
Show, that show Central Park. And
Oh, they do.
Central Park.
yeah. It's on. I think it was on Apple TV, so no one.
Oh, I don't have that.
Yeah.
No one has it.
So let's bring up the one article I wanted to discuss with you guys. I know we kind of touched on it before. This has to do with like the drag thing going on, and we'll get your guys' opinion. This is, I guess you could say, like a kind of like there's like conservative outrage culture as well, I guess you could say, or whatnot. So this is a thing that's like circulating in those bubbles, right? And I'm on Twitter and I see what's going on and whatnot. So this is an article that got written the other day from the Post Millennial. It says, breaking shocking scenes emerge from child-friendly drag show in Dallas gay bar. It says, sorry, I hate the way they do these things sometimes. Dallas gay bar named Mr.
Oh, it was there.
hosted a child-friendly drag show Saturday, where signs read, "It's not gonna lick itself, and I licked it, so it's mine." The child-friendly drag show is being hosted today in Dallas, Texas, gay bar, blah, blah, blah. So here's some photos right here. It's not gonna lick itself. I guess this is like on the wall. This reminds me of like one of your typical like white women brunch Sunday spots. Like they have things like this on the wall, like Bar Taco or something, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. It says, if you think you can do it like we do, I want you to come up real quick, the drag queen says, while asking children if they want to be a diva and telling them to pick a drag queen to partner with. We will play a video here.
Oh my! If you know and you think you can do it like we do it, I want you to come up here real quick. If you think you can do it, if you think you can walk the runway with the girls, who wants to be a diva for the day? Yeah, everybody come back here with me. Walk for me.
That guy didn't look happy. That guy walking away right there.
You pick who you want to walk the runway with. You pick who you want to walk the runway with.
All right, so we get the idea.
Outfits are terrible.
In another shocking, their outfits are terrible. In another shocking video, parents hand their children money and tell them to give money to the drag performers. Strip club behavior, I guess you could say. The event is described by the bar's social media page as a family-friendly spin-off of our famed champagne drag brunch.
There you go, brunch.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right. So I wasn't that far off. The event is titled "Drag the Kids to Pride." So this has been like a hot button issue, in the political sphere right now. I don't know. I don't like it. Obviously, I find it equally as disturbing as bringing a child to a cis straight club where there'd be girls dancing around completely naked and having a young boy hand them money. I hate the sexualization of
This
children.
is this is one of those things where, like, when we were talking about abortion, where I'm pro-choice, but since it was leaked, I need them to lose, so I'll be pro. Like, this is like another one of those things that, like, I'm all for gay marriage in the gay community, and if you want to be a drag queen, you want to have gay bar, go for it. I don't care. But this is like one of those things that you do that you're like, all right, now you're starting to piss me off, and I have to go against you almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is over the top.
What do you guys think?
I agree completely with you, Mike, because I feel like the amount of sexualization to children these days, I remember, and like, I'm not going back like 40 years. I'm going back like maybe 20 years. When I was a young kid, like, I was still into like fucking X-Men toys when I was like 13, 14 years old. Now kids are banging at like 12 and they're like wearing bracelets that they had anal sex. And I'm like, there's got to be a stop to this. Like sexualization, because everything is so instantaneous now. Like when I was growing up, I had to find fucking porno magazines in my parents' apartment or something like that.
We had to work for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to look for it. You had to pretend like you were buying comics and throw a Playboy in there. You know, now it's just like you can go online and you can see a donkey fucking a fucking kid, a person. You know, you probably see that too because everything is disgusting.
So the one that disgusting thing no one's touching on is the name that plays Mr. Mister. Why do they name it after the person who sang Broken Wings? Does that not offend you? Because that offends me, honestly.
You bitch.
No, kidding. No, Gary's right. Like a drag friendly, I've never seen a drag performance that was not kid friendly. And why does it have to be kid friendly? Why can't we just leave the drags for the adults? Why do kids have to be exposed to drag queens? Why do kids now have to be exposed to everything? Because like Gary said, everything instantaneous now. Like on TikTok, you could see everything. And I used to work at a vitamin shop, and the health advice these idiots would give on TikTok, these kids would come in. It's bad enough that kids under than 18 are buying creatine and they're starting to get like adult bodies, which are probably fucking up their puberty really badly. But there was a trend where the kids were coming in for ashwagandha because someone said that was going to help grow their penis. And we had to explain to these idiots, like, no, you can grow your penis with like a lot of vitamin D and a bunch of other supplements, but it's going to kill you because it's a fat soluble vitamin. Like, there's nothing that's going to grow your penis. So you got to stop listening to people on TikTok because they're not licensed professionals.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like,
and they're stupid.
Everyone that was doing chlorophyll, yeah, it could be good for your gut health. But again, plants I just learned recently, like a lot of plants shouldn't be in your body because they're defensive. They're going to harm your body more than they do good. But again, TikTok, the internet, everything is so available, and there shouldn't be drag for kids. There shouldn't be, let's bring the kids to Pride, unless like it's going to be family friendly because, you're going to get like the Citibank floats, but you're also probably going to get a float where there's a bunch of lesbians on motorcycles throwing dildos at people, like, or there's going to be a bunch of, gay porn floats that they're banging on the float. Like, it's a hit or miss that like you really shouldn't have to bring the kids to, or just cover their eyes like our parents did when porn came on the TV.
Yeah, I don't understand you're rushing kids into sexuality. Like you're rushing them and you're like, it's okay. And it's the same thing as bringing kids to Hooters. Like it's the same thing as bringing a kid to a strip club, as you said before. Yeah. Why would I do that to a kid? I understand, and I get why people are very into the drag. And I understand when they do the drag where they're sitting down and they're reading books to kids, because at least you're learning to accept this at an earlier age. And it's not something where they're like, let's work. It's like they're reading a book and kids are understanding that there are other types of people out there. So I get that, but I don't get bringing kids to anything where adults do brunch. That's the end of the day. Yeah. Like brunch is where gay people and old women go get drunk on Sundays,
Yeah, I think we should just let children develop into whatever they're going to become and then accept them at whatever they become. We shouldn't be, the term has become grooming. We should not be grooming them to be anything. Straight, gay, trans, whatever. We should just be allowing them to live. And then when they're of age and they understand fully what they are, that's fine.
Or if a kid
we're all
says
good.
They feel a different gender, don't rush out to give them, supplements or like treatments, because do you remember when you were a kid? Remember
you didn't know what
your
you
earliest
wanted.
Halloween? How many costumes did you go through?
Yes. When I was a kid, I wanted to be in the military, right? I am now one of the most anti-war people that exists. So you don't know jack shit when you're a kid.
It's once again, it comes back to not being able to leave well enough alone, because you got to make sure this kid knows he's gay before he's 5. Mm-hmm. And then on top of it, what you really need to talk about is these kids have no choice. It's the parents.
Right.
These parents need to be brought up, and there needs not like an investigation or something, but Skaggs, you're a parent, like your daughter isn't going to get exposed to this stuff. Well, I mean, she'll be exposed to it, but like the only way she's going to be exposed to a drag bar is by you and your wife taking her there. You know what I mean? It's not like she's going to hop in. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
she can't get in.
Yeah,
at 6 months old, right?
Yeah.
With her ID.
But even 5 years from now, 6, 7 years from now, you know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be something for these parents that I like, you know, that you feel like if your kid was to ask you, Dad, can I drive the car? No, you're 10 years old. Dad, I want to become a girl. All right, let's get you to the hospital and we'll chop that wiener right off for you. No problem.
No, you're 100% right. And I think the problem is parents are such helicopter parents now. Parents just won't let a kid be themselves. They're just like, no. I gotta watch him. I gotta watch him do this. I gotta watch him do that. Yo, I want the aloof parents that I had when I was growing up. My mom only
get dirty,
yelled at me
get
when I
straight.
did something stupid. Like,
yeah,
like I would come home and like if I had like a black eye, she'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?" And she'd hit me again. But you know, for the rest of the time, she's like, "I'm busy working. I can't fucking watch you literally every second of my life. Be an adult. Take care. Take responsibility for yourself."
Look at you now.
Now, look at me now. I'm a world famous podcast host that's shadow banned on Instagram, and you know what? We love, and I still love tits. So
life's good.
Never stops.
So David, before you mentioned MK Ultra, man, and let me give you guys my opinion, see what you guys think as well, just on all of this stuff. Just sum it all up, right? I think there is a psyop MK Ultra aspect to all of this stuff, because, and it's coming from the government, the state, the deep state, whatever you want to call it. They've done shit like that before, and they're doing it now. I think the end goal here is to drive a wedge between parent and child, because when you could do that, who does the child turn to be the parent? The government or the state. And that has become like this culture of the government has to do everything for you, take care of you, has to do this. The people in power are getting ever so more authoritarian and encroaching on every single civil liberty we have as the years have gone on. I don't buy it that it's just a coincidence that stuff like this, or you could use critical race theory for another example, another very divisive thing that's being taught to children. They're trying to drive a wedge between you and your child. I know kids who have been propagandized by some of this stuff, and now they're not getting along well with their parents. Or, you know, it is a thing that is occurring, and it is a thing has occurred in history, right? The Soviet Union has done it. The Nazis did it. Every awful government in the world has ever done it. You target the Hitler Youth Program, right? You think that was an accident? No, that was on purpose. So again, I think maybe we have reached a different strategy, a different tactic. The branding is different. However, the end goal is always the same. That's usually my opinion on everything. The government is bad. The state is bad.
So
and they're usually behind most of the stuff going on.
Our government is extremely bad. I feel like you guys know about the Great Reset that is definitely happening at an alarming rate now, but this has definitely been an issue. So did you know who created abstract art?
No, not from
the CIA created abstract art in order to compete with Russia during the culture wars. So the fact that the CIA was capable of creating an art form makes you believe that they're creating other things under us that we're just buying. So like when I see insane woke tweets, or back in the Tumblr era, all this crazy shit, it's really hard for me to believe that a human could think like this. It has to be some kind of fever dream, or we're in the biggest MK Ultra experiment where, you know, these are fabricated. Everything is created, like you said, to drive a wedge. So the kids are going to depend on the government. So we unfortunately have to depend on a government. So that's why culture is getting erased. That's why I panic where as you guys know, if you heard, I'm a VHS collector. Physical media is important now more than ever because it could be erased anytime.
Just like physical books.
Yes.
Right.
They edited Gone with the Wind.
Right.
We've talked about it before. Disney Plus, when they took a bunch of their movies, they edited it. They're like in Splash, there's a scene where Daryl Hannah's ass is out, and they put like like they digitally grew hair on her to make it look like she has a big puffy ass now. And I'm just like, but why? You know, you're so into having kids like do whatever they want, but they can't see an ass on television.
Right.
So it's a PG movie.
John Waters' PG movie, 16 Candles, had boobs in it. Like
Yeah.
that was PG. We are everything that's happening like from history to now. We really need to. I know all you guys are, but like everyone needs to take notice that like we can't let culture disappear. We can't let society disappear. We can't let woke win, because if the woke wins, the government wins. But then again, it's not just the woke. It's like everyone's at fault. Both extremes on both sides.
Because we let it happen.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
You know, back to the the MK Ultra and the PSYOP. You know, I was thinking about this recently. Like, why is there, if there is no PSYOP, right? Then why are collectively, nationwide, I'm not going to say globally because it doesn't happen around the world, is this giant corporate push every year for Pride Month? We have this attention towards Pride Month because literally everywhere you look is the rainbow flag, the gay pride flag. It's being shoved down your throat at every corner. And that's good marketing. That's how they marketed COVID. Fear, fear, fear. You're going to get COVID there, get COVID over here. So everybody knew what COVID is. The same corporations could collectively in the month of July do everything red, white, and blue, patriotic, military, but they choose not to because they don't want you to be pro-American. But it's perfectly fine to be, you know, to get this mindset of being, and there's nothing wrong with being pro-gay, but they're forcing you. Just like when
it's not about actually being gay. That's the thing. Yeah.
Right. Just like when all these corporations simultaneously started sanctioning Russia when they invaded Ukraine. There's been millions of wars over the years. Not once has ever McDonald's been like, you know what? You guys are the bad guys. We're leaving. We're out of here. There is a puppet master behind the scenes that gets all these corporations to have this push. There is that's the proof. The marketing is the proof that there is some form of a PSYOP.
Yeah. Let's also make the point of, have you guys seen the meme? It's of the Twitter handles of all the Mercedes-Benz and
then the Middle East.
And then it's like, you know, then it's like Mercedes-Benz Saudi Arabia. They don't have a pride flag there. Why? Obviously, because that's not, you know, they ain't gonna fly in that region, right? Because they throw gay people off the top of
gays fly over there.
But now let's get geopolitical real quick. What's the United States government doing? Well, they're supporting Saudi Arabia in essentially a war of genocide in Yemen, blowing up poor people and making them starve to death. And then they're making posts, military posts of. Did you guys see recently the Marines post with the bullets in the helmet, and they were different colored for Pride Month? So it's like,
didn't you send me that, Gary?
Probably.
Yeah, I think me and Gary laughed about that because it's hilarious. About all that shit.
We laughed about. We saw a flag. David sent me this meme. It wasn't a meme. It was literally like every pride flag, and then they had one, and it had two feathers on it, and it said, "Only Indigenous and Native American people can use this flag." And I'm like, but why?
They've been through enough.
Inclusive.
Like, how about we like treat them better but we give them a pride flag? Cool. Okay.
They have a pride flag, and they also have to live on a reservation. So congrats, guys. You guys did it. You guys did it. You solved everything with a flag with two feathers on it. Congrats.
McDonald's will have a new Big Mac box tomorrow. Yeah. All your problems are solved.
But that's the thing too. And I swear to God, I took a cab home today. I took a Uber home, and the car, first of all, I'm gay and I don't know what cars look like to begin with. Second of all, now the car is a rainbow flag, and I'm like, what's going on?
Oh God, wait, Gary, on your app, when you watch the car go, is it like a rainbow path?
Yes.
Because I don't use Uber in the month of June when that happens because I physically get sick, because I'm like, I don't want a rainbow This is not Mario Kart. I don't want the rainbow following.
That's like programming, man, because it's not
That's
only
the marketing.
It's not only that, it's like we were mentioning before, Ukraine, they changed everything to Ukraine flags. And when COVID was going on, you had to put the thing on your profile photo of, get vaccinated. That's a thing. Like they are cultivating people to be conformists, and we will set what we want you to support and do, and you will follow it, or you'll be ostracized, you'll be outcast, or you're a bad person, you're a racist, you're a Nazi, you're this, you're that. And the thing could be insane, like supporting, like there's like the war in Ukraine is insane. It's bad. Everyone's bad, right? Russia's bad for what they're doing. We're bad also for what we're doing. They should be negotiating peace. Instead, they have no intention of negotiating peace. Their intention is to bleed Russia, right?
We talked about that.
We put flags though.
Yeah. We talked about that on the show. I said, you're spending all this money in a war that doesn't involve us in any fucking way. And there are kids in foster care, and there are kids that are in fucking orphanages that we can't even take care of. As a gay person, to even adopt a child is at least $60,000 to $70,000 to begin with. And if you do go outside of the country, or like $200,000, you have to live in their culture, which is, so I got to take 3 months off of work so I can adopt a kid that doesn't want to be taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But meanwhile, we can drop billions of dollars in a war that doesn't affect us in any way, shape, or form.
Just shows you what matters.
On the drop of a dime, right?
And talking again about putting a Band-Aid on a broken arm, you're spending billions of dollars. Every fucking corporation known to mankind has a rainbow flag. And when I saw these 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds that were sick and they were sad and they had nobody that cared about them, where's the money coming from them? Where's the money going to them? Where's the money going? You love gay people so much. Why aren't you taking care of the ones that don't have anything?
Because it's all fake.
Yeah,
true.
It's all fake.
That's why, if you look at the join or die flag with the snake on it, right? If you post that up, people, oh, that's racist. It's white supremacy. But if you don't put the little patch on your baseball jersey, the little rainbow patch, those players in Tampa Bay,
mm-hmm.
you get viciously attacked. It's join or die. All of a sudden, Pride Month has become this authoritarian join or die movement.
But that's why we make fun of this all the time, because it's so
hypocrisy.
stupid.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know back in the day?
That's what we made this podcast off of, hypocrisy. Sorry to interrupt.
So no, the hypocrisy is because back in the day, in my local art scene, when I was an artist, my friend asked me to be part of a gay art show for Pride Month, but I was censored. Meanwhile, so I wasn't allowed to do certain paintings, but everyone else there had like the gayest fucking paintings possible of like naked men and etc. But me doing mild violence was not allowed. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're at a local movie theater, kids walk through here, so they're gonna see gay porn, but me having violence with boobs on it, that's not gonna fly. You can.
What kind of violence? Like what was the artwork of?
So I forgot which one got. I think I had the Lucky Charms guy with Lil Kim's body doing that legs open spread. That was not allowed. And then I created a red horse, the My Little Pony red horse. Took a quote from the Bible, the Wars passage, and I called it the end of Pride because simply our community honestly is a fucking joke. It's not what it meant when Stonewall happened. It's not.
Exactly.
Community is not what it was when it meant something, when people actually fought for it and it meant something. Like, people are like, oh, Pride is about our marriage. No, Pride was about against police violence, and it was done by a Black trans woman and a lesbian.
Exactly what.
Meanwhile, the whole gay community. Have you guys ever seen anything gay that did incorporate people of color? No. And that's the thing with Pride. It's just like corporations are making it about, like, white pride, like gay white pride, but you're barely going to see people of color pride.
Yeah,
that's a good point. See, this is why I want to get your guys' perspective, because this is not something I ever really thought of before.
Like I said earlier, with the body shaming and stuff. Yeah.
There is, David was talking about it before. I've been with Adam for 10 years. So like, I don't even know what dating is anymore. it's fine. We watch fucking Buffy and have sex once in a while. But the thing
Disgusting.
is, I live in sin. Okay, David? Not all of us are gay straight like you are. So before we started even dating on the apps, it would tell you no fats, no femmes. It would say no Asians. I only like white people. Somebody one time said, it was on a profile and it said, I like men, like I like my milk white and white and something like, I don't know, skim or something like skinny. And I was just like, that is so fucked up. And you can't, and back in that day, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, nobody said anything about it. Like nobody cared. And I understand now that, like, we are trying to make movements, but David's 100% right. You don't get to see anybody's perspective. And that's why I said that show Pose was great, because it talks about transsexuals. It talks about people of color dealing with AIDS, dealing with in the 80s, and dealing with people that discriminated against them.
But Gary, we do have there's only one accurate representation of us in TV, and that's that show Happy Endings with the character Max.
God, yeah.
He literally, have you guys ever watched Happy Endings?
Never
even
It's free on Hulu. Yeah. It's one of the best sitcoms that ever aired. There's one gay character on there. His name's Max. He's exactly like us. He's not the token gay. He's a casual person. He's a slob. He's like, he doesn't dress nice. He's like, he's a joke because he's a mess, not because he's gay. That's our representation. We only get one of that in that show Looking, I think. I didn't watch it, but I think there was one fat person on that show, and that person had AIDS. How are you going to do a fat person? How are you going to do him dirty like that?
Yeah. But the Looking was literally like, it was the worst thing I've ever watched in my life.
Coming of age gay stories, even back in the 80s and 90s when they were out, they're all terrible. They literally are all terrible because they all have happy endings. Like a minor character will maybe die or something, but they all the skinny white gays all have a happy ending. And still today, now, even if they do it, if it's a person of color, the hot person of color gay has a happy ending. Hurrah.
Exactly. Like, it's never an average person. And David's right. Literally the only time we ever saw representation was on a show that got moved around 40 times and then canceled after 3 seasons because it didn't make money, because it wasn't on a set schedule. So
it brings back to what you said before too, Gary, which was stuck with me, where you were saying how like I don't mean to say that these are good stories, because they're bad things that happen to people. Like if you are raised and your parents like reject you because you're gay, that's a horrible fucking thing to happen. However, in terms of like a storyline motivation, that could create a good story. And that's usually what most stories are based off of, stuff like that. Like there's you have your reasoning for why you became a fucking superhero or Batman or whatever. But instead, these super woke people are just, this person's gay. That's it. There's nothing else to it.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up quite possibly the worst movie for gay representation ever. And that was Call Me By Your Name. One of the worst movies I've ever watched in my life. And you talk about grooming. This is a story about he's like 16, 17 years old. And this guy is like 23, 24 years old. And he's basically teaching him how to fuck. And it's kind of like,
statutory
it's
rape.
So romantic. It's so romantic. So if this was a man and a woman, or a girl who was 16 and this guy who's 23, never would have been made.
Right.
But
Alita
because
was
it's
made.
gay people, that's okay that this guy can groom a 16-year-old and have sex with him, though, right?
Kind of reminds me of like Kevin Spacey or something. It's kind of like kind of what he was doing, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like that people are like, oh, it's so romantic. It was beautifully shot. If you shoot anything in Italy, it's going to look nice. But the thing is also, like, people are, you're not sitting there and going, okay, so it's 2 guys, so this is okay. But if it was a man and a woman, or if it was a woman and a kid, a boy, it would be the most talked about thing ever. They'd be like, why did this movie get made? Why did this movie get made?
They'd probably be putting the producers and the directors in jail for it. Yeah. David, you were trying to make a point before?
Well, no, Lolita kind of had that plot, but then again, when Lolita was made, that caused a fuss.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Gary's point is Call Me by Your Name didn't make a fuss at all, and that's the same plot line basically.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's switch it up here gears real quick. Let's talk about some fun stuff maybe.
Okay,
We've
good.
gotten in the rut here
Yeah.
of the world of trying to solve the world's problems. Gary, you were talking before about Doctor Strange, and you wanted to criticize my criticisms, I guess you could say, of Doctor Strange, the movie. What did you guys think of the Multiverse of Madness film?
So first of all, Mike, you, oh my God, you didn't bring up Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. I don't know who Bruce Campbell is. That's probably why I didn't bring him up.
He was the hot dog guy. He's Ash first Evil Dead.
Dear sweet Jesus.
I never watched that. I don't know.
You never watched Sam Raimi movies? He's like in every one of them.
I've seen a couple, but no.
He is a horror geek icon because he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he is super famous from doing basically Sam Raimi movies and really dark horror movies, right, David?
Bruce Campbell is a gem.
You see the guy was Doctor Strange man punch himself in the head, you know,
Yes.
like all the
Hot dog guy.
Okay.
You ever see the old horror movie where the guy saves the girl? He's got the double-barreled shotgun and the chainsaw for a hand.
That's Evil Dead.
Yeah. Well, I was saying the sketch.
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
I'm deprived, I guess.
So you need to go back and watch. You can watch Evil Dead. It's not great. It was made
No,
for like
it's not.
Yeah, it's like $4,000 they made that movie. And then they basically did Evil Dead 2, which is basically a shot-for-shot remake of Evil Dead 1, but had a budget. And then they did Army of Darkness, which I have to
Where
say
he time traveled.
Yeah, it's the
I've
weakest.
heard of that one, yeah.
And
It's
then
not just, I think you guys should make a list of movies I should watch, like
What?
interesting stuff like that, and send it to me.
So the reason why I love Doctor Strange was, and this is now finding out that you never watched Evil Dead. It was such a Sam Raimi movie that pushed the PG-13 rating, and you talked about the deaths being a lot more, a lot more than in any Marvel movie. And David and I both agreed that it was like they were like, you know what? Sam Raimi, you did great with Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Even though people don't like Spider-Man 3, it still made millions and millions of dollars. So they're like, you know what? Go crazy. Just keep it as PG-13 as you can. And I went with Danny. You know Danny. Me and Danny went to go see it with his kids, and it got one of his youngest daughter kind of like shook because there was a lot of creep in that movie.
That was the aspect of the movie that I liked, though. I liked the like the sinister portrayal of Wanda, and that's part of it. It's the rest of it I didn't kind of.
I agreed with you on a lot of that. First of all, it should have been called the Two-verse of Madness because literally they were in two universes. Second of all, is as I said, I love these movies. I really love this movie. The problem is they have to get everything in a movie to get to the next movie. And that's the biggest problem I have with Marvel movies right now, is that they don't have it's not like a genuine experience. Like when they first started with Iron Man and Captain America, they were their own movies. And yeah, they worked together. But now it's just like, we got to get column A to column B, because we have to introduce this character because this character is going to be here. And I understand. And it's good. It's good because it's gotten a lot of people into characters that they would throw fucking books at my head when I was growing up reading. But the problem is, I feel like there's so much, like Doctor Strange wasn't as great on the script because they had to change it like 4 times because of COVID and because of WandaVision. WandaVision was supposed to come out after Doctor Strange. So they had to retool the entire movie. So when you see that, and that movie was really the Scarlet Witch's movie, it was just like a continuation of WandaVision. Doctor Strange is good in that movie, but like he kind of took a side part to
he
this
did.
movie. And I think they're just so afraid of, doing a female character. But the thing is, you had Black Widow, and the reason Black Widow didn't, it kind of flopped.
They fucked her.
It flopped because no one is interested in a character that's dead already.
Right.
I don't need to see a side story from her past. You don't need to put her in a movie just to put her in a movie. You did Captain Marvel, and I gotta tell you, worst of all the Marvel movies I've ever watched.
Yes, I agree.
And I am a gay man, and I love female characters. David could tell you, I literally talk about fucking ex-girls all the time.
You won't
I
shut
just
up
felt
about
like
Dazzler. It's
Dazzler, yes.
constant.
Dazzler and Psylocke, my two. But the thing is, like, Captain Marvel was just so ingenuine. Like, I didn't feel like I just felt like they were just like rah 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 girl power. The problem is Captain Marvel has never sold a fucking comic book. She's had 6 number ones in 3 years.
Or they had to keep rebooting the whole.
They keep rebooting it. They keep changing it. They're like, okay, well, there's a movie coming out. We got to do another number one. And that's something Marvel does. That's something DC does.
Yeah.
They all do that because number ones sell more copies. But the thing is, like, she doesn't have a successful series because they took her character, which was Miss Marvel, and she was a Marvel character, and they turned her into this paramilitary character. And I understand why they tried to do it, because they were like rah rah rah. And the most maddening thing I've ever seen in my life was the premiere of Captain Marvel, where a girl was dressed up like Captain Marvel and she hugged Brie Larson. And I was like, first of all, this fucking costume never existed. Did Disney Store just give this girl a costume? They were like, okay, this is the person that's gonna hug Brie Larson.
Oh, so you think it was staged? Like the whole thing was staged?
Oh, who has a Captain Marvel
That's true.
costume? The movie didn't even make
Come
it
out yet, right?
Yet. Like, I understand Black Panther. Black Panther, good movie, good storyline, fucking hot guys in it. So yeah, it's gonna make money. Also, like, it's got a storyline. Captain Marvel was just like, yeah, and then they put "I'm just a fucking girl" in a fight scene. Like, stop.
Yeah.
We get it. It's the 90s. Stop.
It was like Wonder Woman 84 or whatever, you know. You just make them do badass shit and kick the bad guy's ass, and you're gonna do okay. Don't, you know, I'm a woman, so you lose.
Gal Gadot picking up Palestinian children.
Yeah.
Oh man, let me tell you. Yeah, I
Literally
mean,
the greatest scene of all time.
that could not be more tone deaf and more representative of the problem with woke shit and the empire, right? Because my God, like, my personal opinion is that Israel is awful to Palestine, right? And they had a movie where the Israeli actress essentially saves Palestinian children.
That she would have murdered 5 years ago.
Right. I mean, could you not be more? I don't think they really thought of it that way,
No,
but I did, and I know a lot of people did. You know, so I mean,
Yeah.
just insane. Yeah.
And I am unapologetically in love with Wonder Woman 84. It's terrible. I know it's terrible.
So
But
terrible, you love it.
Kristen Wiig deserved more. She deserved more to do. She was good as Barbara Minerva.
Yeah, I thought
but,
she
like,
was,
they
yeah.
gave her nothing to do. They're like, okay, she's the cheetah now. And
There
then
was
they
no
were just like,
villain. There was no, like, even the bad guy wasn't that bad of like a bad guy, you know.
Yeah, it just
enough with bloody
terrible.
noses.
her motivation wasn't great. Like, her motivation was like, oh, people have been mean to me, but you know, Diana
Kristen
hasn't
Wiig-
been mean to me.
Yeah,
I guess I'm
let
gonna
me-
kill her now.
Let me kill her.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, but like, you had a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
Like, you could have explained more. That's like when we did the Space Jam commentary. Oh my God, what a fucking piece of garbage.
2
Yeah.
hours of just like nothing. Like, it was the most soulless reboot possible, because it's just like, okay, we're gonna throw all our Warner Brother properties into here, but we're gonna do it poorly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're gonna
And we're
take
gonna let
out
China control it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We're gonna take out the Clockwork Orange Droogs and Pepe Le Pew. No, I'm sorry. We're gonna take out Pepe Le Pew, who can be a rapist, but the Clockwork Orange Droogs and Rick and Morty could still be in the movie.
Right. And
And also, Ken Russell's The Devils can make an appearance, which is a super anti-religious movie that Gary hated, but I loved.
hated it. I hated
Shut up.
it.
But
It was so fucking
that's
boring.
the thing. So movies today, they're just gonna pick and choose. But they kept Speedy Gonzalez, which was but
yes. Right.
They named
and
it
his
Speedy.
accent was just as heavy as ever. And I'm just like,
Right. I
you
guess you
gotta
could say
pick-
that's like a stereotypical characterization of like a Mexican person.
Yeah,
speaking
Meanwhile,
Gonzalez, right? Yeah.
Disney did a reboot of the Chip and Dale movie. Perfect nostalgia, not woke whatsoever. It was the perfect nostalgia movie because it hit it's me and Gary laughed. We're bitter adults, but we managed to laugh at this kid's movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which you guys
have to.
definitely should see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta check
Haven't
that out.
watched it. Watch it. It's like an hour and a half. It is hysterical. There is so much. It's just so on the nose with gags that like you'd laugh for like an hour and a half.
And it's
But-
a Disney movie.
And it's a Disney movie, but it was done by Lonely Island, and
Oh, they're
most of their
great.
stuff,
Yeah.
most of their stuff is amazing. So it was just good. It was just very pop culture. It
Mhm.
made fun of everything, and it was just a fun movie. Unlike Space Jam, which, like, if you listen to our podcast commentary, like 15 minutes in, we're like, this movie is still, this is like 3 more hours of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, LeBron James, he's good enough in an actor when he's like in a background character. He doesn't have the personality. And we
No.
were like, why wouldn't you put fucking Shaq in this movie?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think he was, they had to put him in there because of the Jordan and LeBron thing. And he's also like, he's the king of China. So I didn't think he's I didn't think he was a good actor. Like, he could be a good background actor, sure, just by doing his thing in the background, by playing basketball or something like that. But it's a main character of a story driver. No,
But
he
like
was awful.
Shaq is a good actor.
Yeah.
Kazam was a good movie.
Exactly.
Steel was a great movie.
Let's all right. So last MCU Marvel question, the X-Men, right?
Oh
Me and Cap have theorized before. Obviously, now Disney owns the rights, right, to the Fox, that whole 21st century stuff. How are they bringing them in? How are they justifying it? What do you guys think? I mean, there's been a sprinkle here and there of some sort of
We
thing.
got the 90s Professor X, man, with his yellow little
Right.
hovercraft.
But that
Storm
was.
is Puerto Rican now. That's what they're doing.
What do you guys think? How are they bringing the
So-
X-Men into the MCU?
So
Or the Disney universe?
my thing is, I feel like with this multiverse and with everything happening, maybe something is going to spill out, or maybe Wanda is going to do the opposite of what she did in the comics, where she did
Yes.
no more mutants, but she goes, maybe she's so overwhelmed with guilt and everything like that, she just lets her power free, and that unlocks the X gene. Or the X-Men have been there secretly and just out, maybe it's Kuroka that's happening right now. Krakoa. Maybe they're on an island right now, but I feel like they need to do something with an Infinity Stone, because you can't just explain this out, or the X gene was awoken and these kids were in school already. The biggest problem I have with it is I feel like X-Men is the horniest comic ever made. Everybody's trying to fuck everybody in every X-Men comic. And I feel like the Disney PG-13, where like there's no sexuality, I feel like Fox fucked up a lot. They fucked up a lot, but they got the horniness down, because everybody in those X-Men movies were trying to fuck each other. And I feel like Disney is going to make it as easily they can do it without having any of the sexuality, because we talked about it before. There's no sexuality in a Marvel movie, and I understand that it's for kids, but if you bring kids to drag brunch, you can see Wolverine try to fuck Jean Grey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's the thing, and I hope that they do something where they don't just have them just happen to pop up. Like,
Right. I agree.
want
Doing
them
that
to
with
do
Fantastic
something-
Four.
Fantastic Four you could do so easily.
Because now that Reed's dead, they're going to be making a movie, but is it another timeline, Reed Richards?
It's a different universe.
It's going to be a different universe.
Ugh.
But the thing is, you could very easily bring the Fantastic Four into any movie by just saying, boom, there's a newspaper. 1963, 4 astronauts went into outer space. They wind up in
Right.
the negative zone. They grow, they get the powers, they come
They
back.
just come
They're
back.
Like, yeah. And then you're just like, wow, what's going on? That's something like a Captain America type thing where they're back. Now it's 2022. So that's so easy to bring into the Marvel universe. And the biggest problem I have with Doctor Strange was they said 616, and 616 is Marvel continuity in the comics. I understand that the MCU is a completely different universe now, and characters are different. So by doing that, I was just like, oh, that just sucks, because now you're saying the comics and the movies are, but they're not.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I have a problem with now the Miss Marvel show that's coming out. They're like completely reworking her powers, and I think
Right.
that has to do with them trying to kill the X-Men in the mid 2010s. they were trying to push Inhumans so much, and you talked about it on the show where you're like, oh, Black Bolt shows up and no one cares about him. Yeah, because they did a shitty television show because they were trying to push, because Fox still owned the rights to X-Men, and they're like, nope, no X-Men anything, no X-Men anything, no X-Men cartoons, no X-Men. They canceled Wolverine and the X-Men. They were like, no more toys, no more. And then when Marvel Legends came out with their first X-Men line in like 10 years, that shit went skyrocketing. That they were like, oh, people want X-Men. Yes, people this age, people who
Always
are
wanted
collectors now are the kids that grew up watching that damn show.
Yeah,
so
they're remaking
love
that show,
X-Men.
or they're continuing that show too. The 90s cartoon. I'm hyped. I loved that show when I was a kid.
Yeah, everybody did. And the thing is, because Marvel was at the heels of bankruptcy, they sold all of their popular characters to whoever wanted them. So
Right.
Sony got Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yep.
And Sony still owns Spider-Man. Sony, if you don't have a PlayStation, you'll never play Spider-Man in a fucking video game for the rest of your life.
Right.
They're never giving that up. And they sold Marvel. Marvel sold them. Sony got Ghost Rider, because anything that was popular in the 90s, they sold. Fantastic Four sold comics. X-Men sold tons of comics. So they got rid of everything. And when they had brought the other characters to Sony, they were like, do you want Iron Man? Do you want Captain America? They're like, don't give a shit about them. But all they really had to do was tell a story. And that's what Iron Man did so perfectly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. What do you think about do you think about the actors though? Like who
new
are they going to recast? Because they're also now in this position where, like, I know you're going to say new, Cap, but they used some kind of an old character.
I get it, but
Ralph Boner or whatever his name is, right? What do you think, Gary?
Wolverine,
go ahead,
Hugh
Chris.
Jackman is too old. And if you're going to do X-Men, you cannot do it without a Wolverine, and you can't do it with an old Wolverine who we've already watched die. It needs to be a newer cast. It could be what's his name as Professor X.
Patrick Stewart is the perfect Professor X.
I need Patrick Stewart. I won't watch it if Patrick Stewart is not X. Honestly, like, I'm not a biggest fan as Gary is, but when we said in our X-Men month, Patrick Stewart is the perfect casting for that character.
Yes.
You can replace everyone else, but like, he needs to stay. And Ian McKellen as Magneto too. They need to stay as their characters. Everyone else, ship them off, different actors. It's great, but no, he needs to stay. I don't care how old he is. Keep him in his damn wheelchair, please.
Yeah, keep him in the chair. He looked great in Doctor Strange.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Patrick Stewart ages perfectly. Ian McKellen is a little, but if you saw Cats, But Patrick Stewart was looking good. I think you have to recast, because the last bunch of X-Men they cast were all terrible. Besides Quicksilver, everybody
yeah, he was good.
Sophie Turner as Jean Grey was,
she was
the
awful.
worst thing I've ever seen in my life. The girl that they had play Storm was good. She looked like Storm, but they never gave her anything to do.
Yep.
And she was young too, right?
Yeah, that was every X-Men movie. They were like, we got Storm, but we don't do any. We'll give her bangs. What the fuck is the matter with you?
Yeah.
Like,
well, the chick who played Psylocke didn't look too bad.
Psylocke, Olivia Munn was perfect as Psylocke, but another thing, my favorite character of all time, literally every shirt I have is Psylocke. That's not Toni Collette, but give her nothing to do. Didn't even give her a character arc at all. And apparently Olivia Munn was really pissed about this, because she is, I mean, she's a bit of a wackadoo, and she's a bit of a fame whore, but she knew her stuff. She was like, so is Captain Britain going to show up in there? And they were like, who? She's like, her twin brother. They're like, what? And they're like, she's like, you guys wrote 7 X-Men movies already, and you don't know these characters? They don't. And when you watch it, you can see there are hints that people did know the characters. But I always felt like Wolverine, like, automatically just wanted to bone Jean from the second he met. And then, like, in the Wolverine movie, like, he's sitting there trying to kill himself because this bitch never loved you. She told you every time she met you, she's like, yeah, I'm with Scott, leave me alone. And meanwhile, he's like, oh, that's it, she's dead, I killed her, I'm gonna have to go be a hobbit for the rest of my life. It's just like, guys, I understand that Wolverine's got a hard on for Jean Grey in the comics, but in the movies
it wasn't warranted. Yeah, that I get it. It wasn't warranted.
And no black and yellow suit.
Yeah, that was a travesty, obviously.
But and even Olivia Munn was like, "Hey, look, if I'm playing Psylocke, I need to be in the ninjakini." She's like, "I need to have the sash. I need to have." They were gonna make her an entire black costume, and she was like, "No." And they're like, "But why?" And she's like, "Because, guys, I'm playing a character that is in every fucking boy spank bank from 1991. I'm gonna be in a fucking leather or plastic thongini, and I'm gonna have a sash and a psychic blade. That's it." And they're like, "Okay, that's what you're gonna get, and nothing else." And that's it.
Yeah.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, I know that movie was awful. It was really disappointing. I was excited for that one too.
Me too. Oscar Isaac too. Oscar Isaac had nothing. No one had anything to do with that movie.
Yeah.
Like it was 2 hours of mindless just.
I don't even think I saw that one full way through.
Yep. Don't waste your time. So let's wrap it up here, Cap. You want to do tweets of the week and then we
mine has a loaded one in there, but if you want
a loaded one, what do you mean by a loaded one? Now I really
we could go on a whole nother hour-long rant about one of these.
All right, so we'll see how it goes. So just to give you guys some backstory, we during the week we'll pick out usually like 2 tweets by either random people or famous people. Normally they're like politically themed, and they could either be like a really good point or a really horrific point. We don't tell each other what they are. We just keep the links here, and then I'll open them mid-show. So I'll start with my first one. I don't even remember what this is at this point. Okay, here we go. Every girl is bi. You just have to figure out if it's polar or sexual. So I thought it was pretty funny, right?
Yeah, the
reason why I picked this is because a journalist from the Washington Post, I think his name's David Weiss, he retweeted this. He's been suspended from his job for retweeting this, and it's ignited this shitstorm in the woke journalism world, where they're all going back and forth with each other. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny. I don't know. What do you guys think?
This is funny.
Yeah, it's funny, but the thing is also, this is why I don't go on Twitter for anything. Congratulations, you guys. I go on Twitter to see what comics are coming out every week, and then I'm off. That's it. I can't deal with this crap. Instagram is bad enough.
This is the point I made, where comedy is dead. It has no place in the woke world.
Is that a pregnant Thor that I'm looking at in the picture?
Might be. I don't know. So YouTube.
No, it's just a fat guy. I'm sorry.
He's got Mjolnir
Fat
there.
Thor from
Fat Thor.
Yeah. All right, let's see, Cap. What do you got?
There's so many pregnant men now. I get confused.
M-Pregs.
The teachers that the right wants to arm are more likely to use those guns to enforce pronoun usage than defend students. I actually so I'm all for, like, if a teacher wants to arm themselves in the opportunity that, they have to defend their students, I'm all for it. But also, this like enlightened me, because there is crazy fucking like lib teachers out there that I could see like holding up some little white boy to the wall with a 9 to their head, like, say my pronoun, say it. Yeah.
But then again, you get the teachers who've been teaching for so many years, don't believe in woke shit, and then they encounter a child or a teen that is really annoying. They're gonna put a gun on that kid really quickly. Because if I was a teacher in today's standards, I would, maybe not shoot the kid. I'd pistol whip them, because I really cannot deal with that. So
yeah, we hate kids.
Yeah, arming teachers is a bitter edged sword, because it could be helpful in one way, but then again, no, everyone's at danger. If you get the old teacher who's been working since the Reagan administration and doesn't like black kids, like, that's not going to be a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I like they picked Justin O'Donnell too, Cap. It's a good libertarian guy, New Hampshire Free State Project. I'm teaching you well. Follow the good guys. So let's go on to my next one. This guy is using an image of a black model from a t-shirt store to do gun advocacy. I'm sharing it for laughs only. He probably found it by Googling black people who are pro-guns. Now, why you might find this funny is because this is Maj Touré that this guy is talking about. And if you don't know who Maj Touré is, he's like one of your preeminent Second Amendment advocates that exist. So, I mean, this guy is
his entire business is blacks for guns for blacks.
Yeah, he even commented on it. He goes, well, here's where we can all get this shirt that I'm clearly modeling. So, well, that dude thought I was a stock photo. I mean, this goes back to kind of what we were talking about before. It's these woke people are normally fucking racist, right? I mean, that's some racist shit there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like a black person can't be a pro Second Amendment advocate. That's essentially
and did zero research.
That's exactly what this person, Cocky Misha, is saying.
Well, Misha does as much research as we do before we do our shows. So
yeah, you guys are more prepared than we are, and we got to say that's great. We should take lessons from you guys, but we're not.
Well, I mean, when it comes to something like politics and stuff, if you say like the wrong thing or actually put out misinformation, it does hurt the brand or the show. Not misinformation, on like the vaccine, but like if you start saying like, well, this is what the bill is about and it's not that, then you lose credibility.
Yeah, you want to know what you're talking about.
I was going to use this episode. Yeah, I was going to talk about Hillary and Benghazi this whole episode, and I know nothing about it, but I'm just going to bring up Hillary Clinton and Benghazi because I just love doing that. Just saying.
I was watching The History of Horror, and Leanna Quigley looks like Hillary Clinton now. David,
stop it! Just do not talk shit about her. How dare you?
I love her.
Jeffrey Epstein looks like Andrew Jackson.
He does.
It's true.
They must be drinking the same adrenochrome or some shit.
Oh my god.
All right, we got one more, Cap. You said this one might blow up the whole show, so I'm excited to see.
If it's what I think it is, I don't know. Okay, yes. This has left me speechless. Joe Biden said that Americans feel financially comfortable under his leadership. Biden's confusion is getting worse. I watched it. I wanted to talk about this topic. Maybe on the next episode we will. I mean, the blatant lying. In one speech, he'll say Americans are financially stable under him. And then in the next speech, he will say fighting inflation is his number one top priority.
Yeah.
I can't even make fun of him anymore.
Because he is a dead. It's Weekend at fucking Bernie's, White House edition. They got this guy walking around with ice cream cones and someone's puppeteering him. Look, as I said, I don't get political, but the fact that he went to the school and someone said, you guys got to do something about gun violence. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to find somebody to do. You're the fucking president. You do it.
That man tweets like he hasn't been with Congress for years and that this is not his job. He's like, oh, Sandy Hook and this, we got to do something. You literally have the power to do that. Please do something about it.
How's about we stop worrying about what's going on in other countries and start worrying about what's going on in our country?
Well, that's the America Last policy.
Like you ain't doing anything about the concentration camps in China, but we're going to give weapons to Ukraine for a war we have nothing to do with. That's cool. All right.
And take away our weapons.
Yeah, or the Yemen famine. Like, so why are we cherry picking which countries we're going to intervene in? That's not right.
Yeah.
Whoever gives us the most money back, that's it.
No, whoever allows us to launder the most money.
Yeah, that's normally how it works. They're printing it, and it's coming back to them.
ISIS is still around, right? I haven't heard anything about them.
Well, they're not useful as a boogeyman right now.
No, ISIS is done like COVID is done. COVID's over. It's monkeypox now in the gay community. People are fucking in bathhouses and getting monkeypox. So good for you guys.
John Travolta is in trouble then.
Yeah, I know. He's gonna get monkeypox, and his wig is gonna melt off because he's got monkeypox, and the adhesive that attaches his wig is gonna melt, and then he's gonna be like, ugh.
He's a gross pig. I hate him.
Make sure you wear your masks. That's what the CDC is recommending for monkeypox, even though it's because it's a skin-to-skin transmitted disease, not airborne. So wear a mask.
That's the craziest thing in the world. Was I was telling David on the show the other day. So I got COVID 3 weeks ago, and I had the booster, I had everything, and I'm like, okay, so now I have COVID. So the doctor was just like, oh yeah, it's mild. You just take some Dayquil and get a lot of liquids in you. And I was like, 2 weeks ago, it was the end of the world if you had COVID. Now I get Dayquil. I don't get real prescription drugs. I have to go buy my own drugs now. Thanks a lot, bitch. Thanks.
I went to the doctor the other day, and they were like, back when, a year ago, if you went to the doctors, you had to get a COVID test. You had to. They were like, do you want a COVID test? Did you test yourself for COVID? No. So we're just going to treat you like a normal, like the doctor was like almost taken back. Like I'm going to treat you like a normal patient. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. This is no
Culture has changed. That's why.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Cool beans. You got, you got COVID. It's cool. It's not in the news anymore. So go home.
Yep.
Take 5 days off.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think it's a good place to wrap it up, boys.
Yes.
Why don't you shout out your show? Where can everybody find you?
You can find us anywhere podcasts are available. We're free and you don't have to do anything to listen to us. And we give you at least an hour and a half of entertainment every week. And we don't charge you for anything, even though we don't have a sponsor. So there you go.
Yes, we are the Miseducation of David and Gary. We will propose month themes and never get to them. Our episodes are really chaotic. Sometimes we will be on topic, sometimes we won't, but that is the joy of improvial podcasting.
Yeah. And we're going to have you guys on one time.
Yeah, we're down.
Maybe we'll have you guys, maybe we'll do Raimi month, Sam Raimi month, and we'll make you watch the Evil Dead.
Yeah, first Evil Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do something like that. That's a good idea.
Great.
I like it.
So thank you guys for having us on.
Yes, very honored. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is our first podcast. The first time we're guests on a podcast, so we're very excited about it. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, well, thank you guys
You're
for joining
welcome.
us. It was fun, definitely. Cap, sign us off.
Have a good
Yep.
night, guys.
Thank you guys so much for coming on, Doom Nation. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Our new Instagram post is just at 2 Doom Men. We had to change it because Instagram shadow banned us. So Doom Nation, thank you. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Adios.